Yeah.
Say that I have never developed any mobile, create any platform.
Yeah.
I have to start with Germany.
Oh.
So even when I see the structure here, actually it's either Windows or other. So you don't need to know about how they are designing mobile. So one example I saw was that for Android, like in Visual Studio you have to build property. So here I saw that you will find the set of information. So is it needed to have
Yeah, you have to understand a bit in terms of all the. So the question is, if I'm pretty new to, let's say, mobile app development, how should I go about it, right? Because it's a pretty new area, right? So think of it as you have been provided a set of APIs, new set of APIs. Let's say you are on ASP.NET. You would have picked up MVC somehow, right? You started knowing how the MVC works. Not saying, okay, you are going to master how exactly everything is working, but you start coding with it and how things are where you set. So exactly like that in mobile application, we give you all the API sets have been given. Not only that, you have various samples, like we have huge amount of samples given to us. Okay? Not only that, our documentation is pretty good. Unlike MSDN, our documentation is awesome. Okay, so you can find everything there and you can actually go ahead, look into it. Let's say for example for mobile application, what you need. You create the entire application. I would suggest starting off with Xamarin Forms. You can create the application, complete blank application, start off and see where you are going, how exactly you can start changing the code. For example, whatever I was doing, I was just trying to modify the page. That's all I was doing. Now you have commands, you have click buttons, everything you have implemented. You know how a button works, you know how a label works. I mean, element-wise, you know what all things are there. The only thing that you don't know is how the working happens, right? So working-wise, you can start learning slowly as you progress with the development. It's not a tough thing. But in terms of, like you said, settings, right? Like manifest, permission and all. So generally, for every application, you have to provide, a bit of permission there. Like for example, your device should not be accessing, let's say, camera unless you have given the permission, or let's say location, right? Because it's OS related permissions. So you have to give those permissions, give them in the manifest. So any Android developers, they generally know that, okay, in the Android manifest, you have to provide the permissions. So we have Android manifest as well, sitting in the properties part. But what we did is, because we are used to Visual Studio ways of, without modifying, not writing much of things. Okay, but here what happens, you just go ahead, select all these checkboxes. It is automatically going to update the manifest with the properties. So all those things have been given. Similarly in case of iOS and everything. So a bit you have to. Start with Xamarin Forms.
Okay, and when I enter Xamarin Forms, I should for Android,
so no, when you start with Xamarin Forms, you need not bother about what is there in Android, what is there on iOS or UWP. You start coding in terms of a normal mobile application, centralized application. When you go more in depth as to, okay, you have to modify specific components that it has to work like this in Android, then you start off doing more and more in terms of that. Okay, so the basic principle is that you start off with Xamarin Forms because you will be only modifying whatever you know in terms of your application. So that's how it is. Yeah.
What was the size of the file that you created? So APK file you create using Xamarin, APK file you create using Android Studio. So what the difference is?
There will be like a bit of like a marginal some few MB of data will be size.
Xamarin will be more.
Yeah. Because what it does is, see, we have given the MS4 lib, right? The entire file basically it has all the data in that, right? Because it has to understand somehow the .NET level. So what it utilizes is a mono runtime. Okay, so mono runtime is something like how basically your Android devices you have the Dalvik and other engine which is sitting. So when let's say when you run the Android application built on Java, that also has to run somewhere, right? Because Java essentially gives you a class file. It runs in its own environment, JVM, right? So there the Dalvik is sitting. Similarly, ours is a mono. So what it does, it sits inside it, and when it is running, it actually utilizes the same kind of network. I mean, not network, I should say, basically the file system. So it understands how exactly it has to function. So in some cases, sometimes the Android application built with Xamarin is faster, and in certain cases, it's almost the same performance.
And
sorry. Web API?
It's a service.
No, Web API is a web service, right? No, Web API is, we are talking about ASP.NET MVC Web API. No, you are trying to consume the service. Yeah, you can consume. Yeah. Yeah, so you can put that shared code part in PCL. Okay, and the PCL will be referenced here. So what we do is in that regards, we generally create like 2 separate PCLs. Okay, or you can create one single PCL as well, because like I showed in the PCL, the project properties has a target. You can target Android, iOS, you can set ASP.NET Core or whatever is there, you can target all those, and then whatever you're getting. So it's like, essentially it's like, if you think of it as in terms of Venn diagram, it's an intersection of all the different platforms. The common code basically sits in there. So any code which is supported by Android, iOS, Xamarin.net, Xamarin.iOS, ASP.NET, .NET Framework and all those can sit in that particular line. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you can write the same code in the PCL itself.
PCL is portable class library. Whatever the basic project or whatever
Can you right click on the project of like whatever?
you can put that in the PCL.
Properties.
And then you have a separate project for the iOS and the Android application, which is on the UI part. So you are going to internally call that PCL, and which is a business project. And similarly for the web API, even if you have a web API, that API talks to the number of messages.
So you can see here, like okay, the current target is set to .NET Framework 4.5, ASP.NET Core 1.0, okay, and then like Android, iOS, Xamarin.Mac. So all these are targeted. Now because of this, what I get is all these platforms. So my PCL can be utilized or referenced, I should say, by all these project types. So let's say for example you have a model, let's say employee is a class which you have created in the model. So that employee can be referenced by any of these project types. Yeah, you should have to have it, because class library cannot be referenced directly by here. So PCL can be referenced. No HTML CSS. Yeah, HTML CSS. Yeah, a bit is there. So let's say in WPF you have the XAML, you have the view models, everything sitting there, right? So your view model works pretty well here. XAML wise you have to make some changes right now. Because let's say you have used tag panel. It's called a stack layout. Okay, all those ways, those changes are there. But let's say bindings wise, the same bindings are available here. Okay, but only difference here is like later on it might be merged, because I heard that you would have seen like build 2017 we announced. So you can extract the same piece of code like view model and everything in a PCL project from WPF. Okay, all the XAML and everything you can migrate it into a PCL itself. Yeah, you have to do migration. Yeah, you cannot just do a direct migration right now. We can't give it because it's different platforms, right? But yeah, I think XAML specification 1.0 has come now. So probably the XAML on WPF and XAML cost will become one. So that might be of help later on. Yeah. Yeah.
The development that we have in WPF, I cannot see the same. I'm using
it is, you're using what? XAML Studio? Yeah. It is actually increasing now. The reason being is because, see, IntelliSense is something, it again utilizes in live whatever is library and whatever you are using. It depends if you are using, let's say, the exact latest version of even XAML forms and everything, then it might be will get. But still, IntelliSense wise, we are working on, because XAML forms uses different platforms. It again bases on the which project is set to start a project, and a lot of things are there in that.
But they cannot be the gesture recognizers.
Yeah, gesture recognizers are something which is customized. So that's why it is a bit tough to figure out. But once you start writing, even IntelliSense starts picking up. I have gesture recognizers. I've seen a Visual Studio working pretty well. Okay, but I don't know about XAML Studio. I don't use XAML Studio not that much, but
and in XAML Studio you have this preview render that you have for Mac,
yeah,
iOS and Android. It's not there in 2017.
It is there.
The preview site that you have the render. You write the XAML code.
You mean to say XAML preview, right?
Yes.
It is there on Visual Studio.
Can you show me?
Yeah, it is there. It is kept in the Windows part of it. So you can go to, view. Oh. So you can click on view and you can come to other windows. See XAML.forms preview.
It has come.
It has been there since last year. In 2015 also it is there. It has been sitting there. It's just that because it was on preview, we didn't keep it announced or something, but then later on we announced last year November that it has been launched and all this. Any other question? Yeah.
To run the application on the mobile,
Yeah.
apart from enabling the developer tools in the mobile, is it enough or
Yeah, you can use like for example, you can use your own device. Let's say in case of Android, you can enable the USB debugging. Okay. In case of iOS, yeah, you have to go through some more things. For example, you have to have a developer license for that purpose, but you can use the simulator pretty well. I have not got a Mac, but else this machine now.
for Android?
For Android that is more than enough. Or you can use the built-in simulators like the Android Studio, the Visual Studio emulator for Android, or else you can use the Haxam emulators or Genymotion, anything you can use. Or in case of iOS, you can be connected. Anyways, you will be connected to Mac, so you have something called as remoted iOS simulator. It actually remotes the entire iOS simulator onto Windows. It will show you there the entire simulator, and you can work on that. Yeah. Yeah. Xamarin Live Player. I'm not so sure of that right now because it was recently released, but I have not actually seen much on that. You can probably know.
Yeah, it's recently released and it allows you to, without connecting your phone, it allows you to run stuff on it. But it's still in preview. I would like to see, I'm really excited about it because here we work in a corporate environment where you cannot connect your USB, you just cannot connect your phone because of security reasons. So we are also using the live feature and hence, yeah. So maybe next time we will do a talk. We will do a talk on that. Okay, sorry, I mean we are running out of time.
Yeah.
You're still here for some time?
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever you still here, you can ask your questions during break. Should we take a break now? Okay, so we'll take a break now. We will come back in 10 minutes. Just adding to the side.